Hello, everyone. My name is Imran Ahmad. I'm a partner here at Norton Fulbright, Canada. Very happy to have my colleague David Seevaratnm join us again to do our monthly privacy roundup for the month of June 2023. It's funny how time passes by so quickly. We're already at the end of June. So, David, three big developments going on that you want to cover off with us today. We'll try to do that within the 3 minute time frame or so, if possible. But
Best.
one of them is the G7 Data Privacy Authority statement that came out. I believe they were meeting in Tokyo not too long ago. Can you tell us about that?
Right. Yeah. So we're seeing continued regulatory interest in generative AI. So that G7 Data Protection and Privacy Authorities roundtable in Tokyo last week. That's a regular occurrence, but out of that, we had a statement on generative AI from these authorities. And in the statement, they note growing concerns that generative AI will create risks for privacy and other fundamental human rights. And they take the opportunity to call on the developers of these technologies to embed privacy right in the design, conception, operation, and management of the new products and services. So they're trying to take a very proactive and privacy forward approach in their guidance on these technologies. And
Right.
similarly, closer to home, we're seeing Ontario's IPC released a joint statement with the Human Rights Commission about the government developing guardrails around the use of these technologies. So uh, a real regulatory interest in the development of generative AI.
Right. Everybody has AI on their mind, both in terms of opportunity, but also concerns. I'm glad regulators, in particular privacy commissioners around the world, are coming out and taking some kind of a position on it, at least. Second development on our list is the OPC's 22-23 survey of Canadians on privacy-related issues. So this is basically a survey where they canvass folks about their areas of concern around privacy. Can you tell us more about the survey and some of the findings?
Right. So they surveyed 1,500 Canadians towards the end of last year, 93% of which expressed some level of concern about the protection of their privacy. And the number who were extremely concerned has actually increased by about 6% since the last survey in 2020. Another survey highlight is about three-quarters of those surveys said that they've adjusted privacy settings on one of their social media accounts, and about the same proportion have actually refused to provide a business with their personal information due to privacy concerns that they're having. So perhaps a reflection of a bit more public awareness, fear of risk around privacy.
The high percentage doesn't surprise me, to be honest with you, but it's also interesting. A lot of our clients, as you know, are in the consumer product space or consumer interface space, and they have been significantly beefing up their privacy departments because it is exactly what you described, a big concern for most Canadians, if not for folks around the world. Third development, a very interesting court case that's come out that found that there was no violation of a statutory privacy tort. Can you tell us about the case and what the
That's
finding
right.
was?
Yeah, so that was a case out of BC, and it was a class action certification decision where the court refused to certify a class action that was being brought by previous employees of TransLink Transportation Authority. So what had happened is hackers had breached the IT infrastructure through a ransomware attack, which we're hearing more and more of these days, of course. But for this action, uh, TransLink employees were attempting to use the privacy statute and say that TransLink had failed to safeguard their personal information. But the court ruled that it was plain and obvious that there was no actual cause of action under this statute because you needed a willful state of mind. And what the court said is that it wasn't TransLink that had willfully violated the employee's privacy interest, but those third-party hackers. So it's quite a familiar ruling in terms of that reasoning. If you compare it to Ontario's intentional torts class actions that were dismissed. So I think in general, we're seeing Canadian courts being fairly careful about the development of privacy rights and how the law recognizes violations and the need for that willfulness requirement.
Right. Well, David, as always, you've been a very, very succinct and to the point in terms of these key developments. So thank you for that. And for our viewers, please join us again next month when David and I get together and talk about privacy developments in Canada. In the meanwhile, if you'd like to sign up for, David puts this excellent weekly update mailer together. If you'd like to sign up for that, please send him an email or myself, and we'd add you to the list with great pleasure. With that, thank you very much, David, again, and thank you to our audience, and we'll be back in 1 month.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.